Hello and welcome to the third video of Digital Marketing Fundamental course, and the link to the whole playlist is in the description below. Now this video is the second module continued, in which we will discuss a lot more terms which are related to digital marketing like impressions, reach, views, clicks, CTR, VTR, traffic, conversion, bounce rate, and everything else you need to know and there is to know. Now some of you, if you're already been working in digital marketing for some time, you will be like, why are we learning about impression and clicks? It's so straightforward. But that's not the case. There is a lot of things, fundamental knowledge you need to know about all. Let's jump into our first slide today. So before we can go into all this terminology, I first want you to look at the user journey. So for example, when you become a digital marketer, you run campaigns or anyone runs campaigns, I want you to first understand what actually happens in the front. So for that, let's go to any website. Let's say I go to bbc.com, right? When I go to bbc.com, I see this ad here from North Face. North Face is an advertiser. There is someone in North Face working for North Face who is running this campaign, showing this jackets campaign or whatever. Now there'll be some people who go to BBC and ignore this ad and scroll down. And there'll be some people who will watch the score, close bbc.com. And there will be some people who will be interested. This is a nice jacket. Let me click on it. They'll click on it, some of the people. And they'll be redirected here, which is North Face website. And some people will be like, no, this is too expensive for me because it's, let's say, 220 euros or I don't like the style, and they'll just close the browser or go back to bbc.com. But some people will be like, yeah, this jacket is looking nice in the ad, and oh, this is available in medium size, and they'll go ahead and buy this jacket. So this is generally what happens after you run a campaign. This is the user journey. Now that we understand a little bit, I'll come back to this example back in this video. So let's jump into our first slide, which is the first important metrics is impressions. Now an impression is simply whenever your ad is loaded. For example, let's assume that this is the North Face. They just started this campaign. Let's say I'm the first person. I went to bbc.com. I'm the first person to see their ad, right? Now their ad was loaded, which means that there will be one impression counted for this campaign. An impression is whenever your ad from any of your campaign is loaded, that campaign will count an impression for that, right? Now, there are some things you need to understand about impressions. For example, the first thing we discussed is number of times the ad was rendered or loaded is called an impression. Now, it can be outside of viewport as well. This is very important to understand. Now, let's go back to bbc.com. For example, this is my first time I am coming to bbc.com. I actually wanted to check what is the score. I see here that there is whatever score is there, and I go ahead and close the browser. Now in this, what happened is the North Face campaign counted one impression. Whoever is running North Face campaign, this campaign, there in their dashboards, they will see, okay, this campaign got one impression because the ad was loaded. And it's the same thing for this one. This is an ad from this company, Six. Both of these companies in their platforms, if they go now, there will be one more impression counted for their campaign, right? But in our example, I came here, I checked the score, and I closed the browser, right? But what happened is there were some other ads that were loaded on this page. For example, this one, right? And there'll be few more maybe somewhere here on the website. But in our example, we just went back from the top. We didn't even scroll here to see this ad. But the moment we loaded this website, in the bottom of the page, this ad was loaded. So an impression will be counted for that ad as well. This is very important to understand. For example, if you run a campaign and your ads show, let's say 50% of the times they show on top of here, you are running a campaign with BBC, 50% of the times the ad will, let's say 50 times the ad appeared here, and 50% it appeared on bottom of the page and nobody scrolled. Your campaign will still count 100 impressions, because the definition is whenever an ad is loaded, whether it is within the viewport. So this thing here, this part of the website which comes into this area where users can see within the browser is called viewport. Now at the moment in the viewport, I can see this content. Now if I scroll down, now this content comes into viewport and this ad comes into viewport. So this region, when you scroll up and down, this region, whatever is visible on the screen, this part, this window is called the viewport, right? Please remember that. Now that is what it means, that it can be out of viewport as well. Even if nobody scrolled, it never came within the viewport, an impression will be counted then as well. Now the other point you need to understand about impression is it is counted as many times as it appears. So this is a good example here. Now if somebody goes to BBC and if you see here, there is a sixth ad here, and if you scroll down, there is one more sixth ad here, which means that this campaign will count 2 impressions. Though it's the same advertiser, it's the same user, it's the same refresh of the page, but the ad appeared twice, so there will be 2 impressions counted on it. If you are wondering that what is this impression, so for example, I'll go here. This is the Google Ads account, one of the Google Ads account. I am running a campaign here. It tells me that for this particular duration, there were 1.33 million impressions counted for this campaign. So which means that my ads appeared like this 1.33 million times. Okay, so that is what you have to understand about impressions. One more thing you need to understand about impressions is they are the most commonly used metrics to buy and sell inventory for campaign. For example, if I go to bbc.com, I tell them I want to run a campaign on your website. I'll not tell them I need 575 impressions or 5,343 impressions. The impression deal always happens in CPMs or 1000 impressions. So I'll tell them I need 500 CPMs, and that's how it is built as well. What it means is if I go to BBC and I tell them I want to run a campaign on your website, what is your rate? They'll not tell me our rate is $0.003 per impression, because every impression is so cheap that the rates are generally for 1000 impressions. So they'll tell me our rate is $3 CPM, which means we charge $3 for every 1000 impressions. So because impression costs so less, that's why it's always counted in 1000 impressions, which is CPM, which we discussed the last time. So now that we know what impression is, let's move to our second metrics, which is viewable impressions. Guys, the points I'm telling you, they are very, very important to remember. When you go ahead in your career, there'll be a lot of instances that you need to know all these terms and conditions about how a metric is counted, what does it mean, and what are the different conditions. Now, to understand viewable impressions, what happened is whenever people used to run campaigns, for example, there were companies who will go to BBC and tell them we want to run campaigns, and BBC will tell them, okay, we'll sell you 100,000 impressions. But what companies realized is, for example, I'll be like, my ad always appears on the bottom of the page. Here, I just bought 100,000 impressions from BBC for a campaign, but my ad always appears on the bottom of the page, and there are probably, let's say, 5% of the people who go to BBC and scroll till the end of the page, which means I'm paying for these impressions and nobody is actually seeing my ads, maybe 2% people. So what happened is all the platforms started counting one more metric for your campaigns, which they show in your reports, is a viewable impression. What viewable impression is, it kind of gives you an idea that what percentage of your ads was most likely seen by a user. Now, when does a platform count something as a viewable impression? Is the condition for that is if 50% of the ad comes in the viewport for more than 1 second, for at least consecutive 1 second. Which means that if I scroll and if you see this sixth ad here, let's say I went to website bbc.com, I scroll quickly, though this ad here, it came into viewport, but it was so quick, it did not stay there for 1 second, consecutive 1 second, continuous 1 second, which means for this ad coming in the viewport was as if it didn't come in the viewport. That's why the condition for viewable impression, because all these websites, all these technologies, all these companies, they have no way to know that if actually there were eyes on this ad and somebody saw it. So the closest they could come is, okay, the probability of an ad being in the viewport for consecutive 1 second means somebody would have noticed it. So that is what viewable impression is. So whenever you run a campaign, when your ads are delivered, your campaign will count, okay, you know what, your campaign has 1,000 impressions. That means your ad was loaded 1,000 times. Then it will tell you out of those 1,000, there were 250 viewable impressions, which means it gives you an idea that, okay, out of the 1,000 times my ad was loaded, 250 times it came in the viewport for 1 second. So most probably, most of these people, most of the viewable impressions were actually seen by someone. So that's the objective of viewable impressions, to kind of give you an idea that from your campaign, how many of the impressions were quality impressions, which are likely to be seen by someone. So to give you an idea, 40 to 80% viewable impression is considered to be good. So for example, if you have, you're running a campaign on BBC, Google Ads, anywhere, and out of, let's say, your campaign has received 100 impressions and your viewable impressions is 40, which is 40% viewability. That means that 40% of the times your ad was, whenever your ad was loaded, 40% of the times it appeared in viewport for more than 1 second, at least 50% of the ad, right? At least 50% would mean that, for example, if I go here and this is an ad, so if somebody was scrolling until here, though this ad appeared in the viewport, but for 1 second it will not be counted as viewable impression, as at least 50% has to be within the viewport, right? So for now, you have to understand, for example, if you are specifically running an interstitial campaign, interstitial would mean something like this. For example, if you go to Times of India, before you could, the website will be grayed out, you will see an ad like this which says advertisement, and it will be like out of the page. And unless you close this ad, you will not be able to see the actual contents of the website. It's called an interstitial. Even in mobile games, you sometimes play a game, and before you play your next game, there is an ad which will cover the whole screen like this. These are called interstitial ads. These type of ads generally have higher viewability, because most of the people who see this ad, it stays on the screen for 1 second while the website is loading, or it will not allow you to close it for 1 second. So these kind of ads generally have high viewability. If you're not specifically targeting these kind of ad placements, then higher viewability, like 95% or something, is needs to be investigated, which we will discuss later. But this is, you need to understand at the moment that these two formats generally have high viewability. And then we go to our next metrics, which is reach. Now reach is very important, because what happens is, now if you're confused, as I told you before, so when you go to, for example, if I'm running the campaign in Google Ads, all of these metrics, impressions, clicks, and all of these metrics we will discuss, you will be able to see that for your campaign. So to understand how your campaign is doing, you need to understand these metrics, and for a lot of other reasons as well. So what reach means is, because when you run a campaign, it shows you the impressions. It gives you an idea that how many times your ad was loaded. Then viewable impression gives you an idea that, okay, out of these ad loads or impressions, how many of them actually came in the viewport, right? And then there is a concept called, or a metrics called reach. Now what reach was developed for is, okay, if your ad campaign received 100 impressions, that means the ad was loaded 100 times. How many people, unique people, actually saw this ad, or for how many unique people this ad was loaded? What if the same, I go here, for example, this, let's say BBC just started this campaign, right? This 6th campaign. Let's say I'm the first person to see this campaign. I went to BBC, I saw this ad, I scrolled down, I saw the same ad again. I scroll down, I saw the same ad again. So their campaign as of now will count 3 impressions for this campaign. But it just gives them an idea that their impression was loaded 3 times. But to understand that, okay, how many people saw this ad, that's why we use reach. Now their campaign, as of now, if they just started, I'm the first person to see these ads, their campaign will count 3 impressions and reach 1, because it's only one person who saw this ad. If I refresh this page, I see the 3 ads again. Their campaign will count 6 impressions, but it will still be reach will be 1. So when they look at their campaign reports, it will say, this is your campaign name, impression 6, reach 1. Now, if somebody goes to, let's say bbc.com, they see this ad again, let's say once, then they will be like, okay, now our campaign received 7 impressions, but reach is 2. So reach gives an idea that how many unique people saw the ad. Now, this is very important, because in branded campaigns. For example, in UAE, let's say I'm working with Etisalat, which is a telecom provider. On UAE National Day, they launch a brand campaign. They don't tell people to buy stuff. It's a brand campaign. What they do is they just want to show to people that how Etisalat is celebrating UAE's National Day and stuff like that. The objective for that campaign is they want to reach as many people. So when that campaign is planned, they keep one thing in mind. There are 10 million people in UAE. Okay, we have this budget. Let's aim to reach at least 7 million people with our campaign, which is UAE brand, National Day brand campaign for them, right? So in those cases, reach is actually the objective, the KPI, the key performance indicator for Etisalat. If you're their agency or you're their digital marketing team, they'll ask you, okay, with this campaign, what was the reach? So it becomes very important for them that how many unique people saw, right? So this is very important as well, because reach gives you an idea about your campaign, that how exposed it was. Even if you say, let's say you run a campaign and you tell them, the impressions for this campaign was 10 million, but on an average, every person saw the ad 10 times, which means the reach was only 1 million. Only 1 million saw the campaign. The traction was less. So reach is very important for brand campaigns and stuff like that. The other thing, what makes reach important is because all the companies in the world, the big companies at least, they have something called brand safety. So they'll tell you, if you're their digital marketing team or you're an agency working for them, they'll always tell you, you know what, whenever you run our campaigns, our ads should not appear on, let's say, content related to sexual abuse, tobacco, wars, or don't show our ads on videos which talk about wars, don't show our ads on websites which talk about gambling, and these are all called brand safety, right? Now this is reach is important for them because they have something. For example, if you're running a campaign for Uber Eats, you're running an app install campaign where it's a 6-second video and you are telling that with Uber Eats you can order food and we'll deliver it in 15 minutes. They'll tell you that our campaign, do not expose it to the same user more than 3 times a day, because the user generally gets irritated, and from research we know that if you show the same ad to the same person again and again, they kind of develop a hate towards that brand because it's very irritating. So for that, what happens is they always look at reach and impressions, which kind of derives a metric called frequency. Frequency is the number of times a campaign was shown to the same person on an average, right? For example, if there was a campaign which had 100 impressions and the reach was 100, which means this campaign was exposed to maximum 1 time to each person. The frequency is 1. Now, if for example there was a campaign where impressions are 100 and this campaign was exposed to 50 users, for some it showed twice, for some once, for some twice, on an average the reach for that campaign was 50. That means the frequency was 100 divided by 50, which is 2. On an average, the same person saw the ad from that campaign twice. So frequency is something which the companies will tell you that our frequency for the campaign should be 3 times for the same user for the entire duration of the campaign. So companies usually in the media planning, they include this. So frequency is like a derivative of impressions by reach. So if you have to calculate frequency, it's as straightforward as divide impressions by the reach of the campaign. Now, most of the platforms, let's say for example Facebook, if you run a campaign, it will tell you what was the average frequency. So this is very important to remember as well, which leads us to a quick revision, which is the reach and impressions. Reach is the number of users, unique users exposed to a campaign, while impressions is roughly number of times an ad was loaded, regardless of how many people, unique people saw it. Now that we know that what an impression is, now that we know what reach is, now that we know what frequency is, now we have to understand what a click is. Click is simple as the name defines that. For example, if I go to BBC, this is the first time I'm going to BBC, I see this North Face ad for the first time, and whoever comes to BBC, let's say this ad, North Face ad, was shown 100 times. As I told you, some people will just ignore the ad and they'll scroll down, and some people will click on this ad. Now, whenever somebody clicks on this ad, it will be counted as a click. So for example, let's say BBC just started this campaign. I went to this website once, I refreshed, I saw the ad again, so there'll be 2 impressions counted. For the second time, when I see the ad, I click on it. So their campaign will say 2 impressions, 1 click. Now, there are certain things you need to remember about clicks which make it a bit not as simple, which means regardless of if the user ended on their website, a click is still counted, which means that if I go to BBC, I see an ad here, I click on it and I realize that, or I clicked it by mistake, or I realize that, okay, you know what, I don't want to go to their website before the website loads, because if I click on it, it will load their website. Now, let's say when I clicked on it before the website loads, I close the browser, I click on back or whatever. Though I did not end up on their website, the platforms will still count it as a click for that campaign or that ad, right? The other thing you need to remember is clicks will be always less than impressions, because the maximum the maximum clicks it can get is equal to impressions. Every time the ad was loaded, even if the user clicks on it, then the clicks will be equal to impressions, which never happens. And to give you an idea, so for example, on Google search, 5 to 10% of the people click on the ads, which what it means is, for example, if I go to Google and I search for order food online. Now, if you see here, there will be this ad. So because it says ad here, so there's a company Ferrando. They showed this ad, so there will be 1 impression counted for this ad because this ad was loaded. And the same thing which we discussed, even if I don't scroll down, the ads that appear toward the bottom, impression will be counted for them as well. Now, it doesn't have to be a text ad. For example, if I search for black jacket, now I'll see these ads here for all of these campaigns, because they are from different advertisers from different campaigns, and impression will be counted for all these 5, right, ads. Now what happens is, if I click on it, out of these 5 campaigns which counted an impression in their campaigns, only this one will count a click as well. Now, to give you an idea, 5 to 10% click on ads which appear on Google search. And apart from Google search, for example, the ads that appear, let's say, on Facebook. If I go to Facebook and I scroll down, if you see, this is an ad here which says Affiliate World Conferences, and it says sponsored, which means it's an ad here. They will have a button here as well, book now. Now, apart from search, things like Facebook or the ads that appear on BBC here and here, the number of people who click on these kind of ads apart from search is 1%. Now, it's high for Google because Google, there's one thing you need to understand about Google. Now, Google shows ads based on what you're searching for. When I see the black jacket ad, I was searching for a black jacket. So the probability of someone clicking on the ad which appears on Google search engine result page is higher, obviously. And in this case, I was order food, and the ad I see is relevant to ordering food. So that's why the CTR is 5 to 10% on Google search, and on rest everything else it's around 1%. In some campaigns you'll see 0.3%, some campaigns you'll see 1.5%, but that's the average across all other except Google search is around 1%, and Google gets 5 to 10% CTR. So that's what you need to know about clicks. Now, we already discussed what a CTR is. CTR is short for click-through rate. It's the percentage of people who click on the ad after an impression, which means if I say an ad or a campaign received 5% CTR, that means 5% of the people for which the ad was loaded clicked on the ad, which we discussed. So in theory, for example, if 1,000 people, an ad campaign got 1,000 impressions and 20 times it was clicked out of those 1,000 impressions, the CTR would be 2%. As simple as that. One thing you need to understand about CTR is CTR gives you an idea about how engaging an ad was, how prompting it was to make users click. Higher CTR means higher engaged ads. If an ad gets, or a campaign gets 50% CTR, which means 50% of the people for which there was an impression of the ad, they clicked on the ad, which never happens. As I told you, it ranges between 1 to 5%. And but if you are testing, let's say if you are running two campaigns and one campaign has higher CTR, that means the ad is more engaging. It makes people click more often than the one which has lower CTR. And that's honestly everything about CTR, right? If you have to calculate it, the formula is CTR. If you, for example, have if you are running a campaign on bbc.com, any website, any supplier, let's say you ask them for a report, they send you impressions and clicks of the campaign. The CTR you can calculate simply, clicks over impression multiplied by 100, and it's always shown in percentages. Now that we discussed about what an impression is, frequency, reach, and clicks and CTR, now I want you to know the next metric, which is views. Now what happens is it makes sense for ads like these, let's say the North Face ad or the ad on Facebook or the ad on other websites or Google search here, to measure how many times the ad was displayed or loaded, how many times people clicked on it. But for video ads which appear like this, for example, if I go to YouTube and I click on, let's say, this video here, I want to watch this video. But before that, YouTube will show me some ads. Let's say there'll be two ads in this case that will be showed to me, which is an ad. So the ad is a video, right? It plays for a while, and after a while it gives me this skip option. Now, it does not make sense to measure only impressions and clicks and reach for these kind of ads, because it doesn't give you an idea that how many people actually did not click on the skip button, how many people actually watched this ad. Now, for example, let's say this ad is shown 100 times. All the time when this was shown, users after 5 seconds clicked on skip ads. Now it will show them, okay, 100 impressions or 1,000 or million impressions. They'll be like happy, okay, yeah, you know what, our video ads received 1,000, 1 million impressions. But let's say every time this ad was skipped after 5 seconds. So it does not give them an idea that how effective our videos are. So for specifically videos, there is one more metric that is counted within all the platforms, which is views, because for videos it makes sense that how many people actually watched our video. Now, how views are counted is different for each platform. For example, for YouTube, anyone who watches the video ad till 30 seconds is counted as a view. So for example, when these guys are running this campaign, they see we have 1 million impressions, but then they see we have 5,000 views, which means 5,000 people watched this ad up to 30 seconds. That gives them an idea that how effective our video is, that maybe our ad is boring in the beginning, everybody skips, only 5,000 watched it for the 30 seconds. So that's what view actually means, and it's only specific to video ads. But the thing is, for YouTube, you need to remember actually there are three different criteria to count a view. Now, in this case, as I told you, if somebody watches it for 30 seconds, it's counted as a view. But what if the ad is only 11 seconds, 15 seconds, 17 seconds? Then no matter if everybody is watching it till the end, it won't count any views. So for that, what Google said is, either somebody watched it for 30 seconds. If the video is lesser than 30 seconds, then in that case, if a user watches it till the end, so for a 17-second video ad, number of times people watched it till 17th second, it will be counted as a view. Now, in certain cases, let's say this is a 3-minute video. Now, in the 5th second already, I was like, yeah, this is an awesome product, and I click on here to go to their website and do whatever. In that case, Google counts as a view for YouTube ads as well. So there are 3 conditions on YouTube. Somebody watches your video ad for 30 seconds, it's counted as a view. If the video is less than 30 seconds, then the criteria becomes if the user watched the whole video ad. And in case somebody clicked on the ad even before the end of the video or 30 seconds, even then a view will be counted. If you don't find any logic in there, it's how YouTube ads count views, so just remember it. The criteria is a bit different for Facebook. For example, Facebook counts a view only after somebody watches the video ad for 3 seconds. For Twitter, it's even smaller. Somebody watching a video for only 2 seconds, it counted as a view. But the thing is, Facebook and Twitter, they say that somebody watching your video ad for 3 seconds or 2 seconds, but it should be 50% in viewport. What it means is, for example, this is a video ad here. It's a good example. Let's say I'm on Facebook. I actually am watching this particular picture here, but the video is playing here, right? This video ad is playing. It's an ad. Now this video ad is playing, let's say, for 3 seconds. And it doesn't make sense to count a view for it because I actually never saw it because it was just down there. So that's why Facebook and Twitter count a view only if the video ad is 50% in the viewport. So the condition is 3 seconds and 50% in the viewport for Facebook, and Twitter 2 seconds and 50% in the viewport. Now this leads us to our next step, which is VTR. Like for impressions and clicks, we have CTR to understand how engaging display ads were. For video ads, we have something called VTR, which is short for view through rate. Now, view through rate is simply the percentage of users who watched the video and actually fulfilled the conditions of a view with respect to the number of times the ad was displayed or an impression occurred. What it means is, if, for example, I go here and I play this video. Now, every time this video appears to me, there will be one impression counted as soon as this video ad is loaded. But a view will be only counted when somebody watches this video for 30 seconds, right? So, which means if for 100 people this video was loaded, but everybody skipped, only 10 people did not skip and watch this video for 30 seconds. That means the VTR for this, or view through rate, is 10%. VTR is simply views over impressions multiplied by 100. So higher VTR would mean that more people are watching a YouTube video ad till 30th second. 50% VTR would mean that every time this video ad is loaded on YouTube, 50% of the people watch it till 30th second, or whatever the condition for view is, right? So higher VTR means the video is engaging. So that's why when your video VTR is less, YouTube tells you that, okay, you know what, you need to change your video ad and make the first 5 seconds engaging so that people don't skip it and complete a view every time it's loaded for someone. Right? So to give you an idea that VTR generally on, let's say, YouTube, the VTR, good VTR is somewhere between 10 to 20%. Sometimes it's 25%, 30%, which is good. But that's where the normal range lies between, just to give you an idea. And the next thing we have here is bounce rate and conversions. Now these are very important to understand as well, because if we go back to our example here, which is the BBC website. Now let's say I'm refreshing the website for the first time and I saw this North Face ad. I told you some people skip it and some people just click on the ad. Now when I click on the ad and I land on their website successfully, what happens is, let's say 1,000 people saw the ad. Here BBC not saw this ad was loaded on BBC website 1,000 times. Maybe sometimes it appears below the viewport. That means this campaign will count 1,000 impressions. Now out of those 1,000 times it loaded, let's say 10 people clicked on it. So the campaign will count 1,000 impressions and 10 clicks. Let's say out of those 10 clicks, 2 just closed the browser without going onto their website. That means 8 people went to their website, 8 people landed on their website. That number of people who clicked on an ad and actually landed on the website successfully is called traffic. So this campaign had 1,000 impressions, 10 clicks, and the traffic to the website was 8, right? Now we know impressions, clicks, traffic. Let's say I click on this ad and I landed on this website. Now what happens is, out of the 8 people who actually landed on the website, what will happen is some people will just look at the price and skip, close the browser. Now all those people who went to the website and did not click on anything, did not do anything on the website, these are called bounced users, right? And the percentage of people who landed on this website and went away without doing anything is called the bounce rate. So a 50% bounce rate would mean that there were 50% of the people who clicked on the ads and actually landed on the website. Out of those, 50% did not do anything and they closed the landing page. Now bounce rate is important because it tells you that If the bounce rate is high, it means bad because more people are going to the website, not doing anything and going back. A high bounce rate usually means that people saw your ad, they clicked on it, but they were expecting something else on the landing page. The ad was saying something else. When they came to the website, they saw, okay, no, this is not what we expected. And then you need to make changes either to your ad or you need to make changes to your website. It means a lot of things. High bounce rate means a lot of things. There's a lot of ways to troubleshoot it. We will go through all of that, but this is currently what you have to remember, what a bounce rate is. Okay, so that is what bounce rate means. Now, high bounce rate is bad. So generally you should expect like anything below 50% bounce rate is good. And it depends on the website as well. Bounce rate is if the user did not do anything. Even if I check here, I click somewhere, let's say what is the price of medium? Okay, I add it to the cart or just go to other bags and equipments. I am not a bounced user, so I'll not be counted as a bounced user. And then what we have is the last thing we have for this video is conversions. Now this is very important as well, probably most used terminology within performance marketing. What conversion means is because when an advertiser like North Face or anyone is running a campaign, they have a certain objective in mind. What in this case, what they want is they want you to click on the ad, go to their website and purchase. It's as simple as that. That's why they are running this campaign. They want you to go to their website and just choose your size and buy this jacket, right? So for them, a conversion is whenever somebody clicks on their ad, goes to their website and buys a product, right? But for other advertisers, it might be something different. For example, this one here, this ad here, the Life Rando, they are running an ad. They want you to click on the ad and probably order food. Enter your address, search for whatever you want to buy and order food. So for this particular website and advertiser, they showed you ad and they want you to click on the ad, come to their website and order food. So for them, order food is conversion. While as this ad here, the video ad here, Affiliate World Conferences, they want you to click on book now, go to their website and probably buy tickets. For someone, real estate, it will be you click on their ad, go to the website, leave your details in the lead form, and a lead is a conversion for them. Now, a conversion is basically an action on an advertiser's website which they want you to take after clicking on the ads. Now, every advertiser defines their conversion. Now, what happens is, for example, this campaign was running for a real estate client, and the conversion was filling up a lead form. We had set up this campaign in such a way that a conversion for us is when somebody fills a lead form. So the 1K conversions you see in this case is there were 1,000 people who actually clicked on our campaigns from this campaign, and 1,000 of them actually landed on the website and they filled the lead form. To give you an idea, what it means is our campaign received 1.33 million impressions. Out of the 1.33 million times our ad was displayed, 16.2 thousand people clicked on our ad. And out of those 16.2 thousand people, some of them, maybe 14,000 landed on the website. And out of those 14,000, 1,000 people filled a lead form. So it's like an end of the conversion funnel. That's the last step. So that's honestly what our conversion means. So that's all for this video. I hope this was helpful in any way. I'll quickly see you in the next one.